Welcome to Real Lives Touched by Addiction podcast with your hosts, Jen McCutcheon, Luke Loughlin, Lainey Love, and Sandra Murray. This podcast exists to bring truth, compassion, and real solutions to conversations around addiction that family, communities, and systems have avoided for far too long. Addiction isn't just an individual struggle. It's a family, community, and generational issue. And too many are navigating it in silence, feeling overwhelmed and alone. Through real stories, lived experience, trauma-informed insight, and evidence-based frameworks, we're exploring the most misunderstood truths about addiction and family healing. And you're invited to join us. Listen, reflect, and take a small but powerful step towards real change. So let us begin. Welcome back to the show, Real Lives Touched by Addiction here. Jen McCutcheon, Lainey Love, Sandra Murray. And we are coming to you tonight without Luke. Luke won't be joining us tonight. And we're going to be sharing with you why he is facing sentencing tomorrow. And we're really holding space for him along with all the family members, that his family and friends that are walking this journey. And we are his family and friends as well, as he's been in our lives for quite a few years. For me, it's been about 3 years, and we've all learned and come to know the journey that Luke's been on, and he shares so openly about this path that he's on, and dealing with the consequences of his actions during active addiction. So we're going to be talking about, the weight of this and what so many families like Luke and family members are experiencing this in the very same way, right? It's heavy. There's a lot to it. But the outcome is different for many people. And it's mothers, families, children, spouses. Luke talks about his nieces and his nephews and his brother and his sister. So it affects more than just the individual. And we're also talking about systems and the court system. And we're here to talk about the real raw truths. And it's just that weight that many families carry. So we're holding Luke in our hearts and in our prayers, and just knowing that this is a real life touched by addiction. Many people are experiencing this. So we thought, why not come on and talk about it and share where each of us are, how we're feeling, what we're thinking, how we're navigating through this, to give hope, to give solutions and possibilities and perspectives on how to help other people move through this challenging time that they may be facing with a loved one.
Yeah, that was really well said, Jen.
Thank you.
Brings
Thank you.
me right into the systems.
Yeah.
I've navigated many systems myself. I think all of us have. And we talk a lot about that together, and we're never really 100% sure how to address it. Because it's such a vast topic, and there's a lot of emotion, and it's very polarizing. Um, and I think the best way that I can navigate it or do navigate it is breaking down the function of the system, whether or not I think that it works. Like the legal system is not a justice system. It's a legal system. And as soon as I got my head around that, it was easier for me to understand this, that it doesn't make sense, because I was always looking for justice out of the system. I think maybe TV and movies
Yeah.
so, give you that idea that it's a justice system, but it's not. It's based on rules, and it really does depend on who each individual is, who the judge is, who the lawyer is, who the lawyer is. And that's why you can get so many different varying results. So that's in learning more about systems so that you can understand them and how to navigate them and not look for justice from them. and also the correction system. We call it a correction system or a penal system. And
Hmm.
exactly, what is it? What is it? Because I thought, and probably you ladies will share that too, my idea of what it was supposed to be is you go there to be held accountable for a wrongdoing you've committed, but you're also supposed to come out like, as they say, correction system, like reformed.
Right.
So you have served your punishment, but also the reformation, and that part is absolutely missing from the
Yeah.
system. Um, because I don't think that's what the intention is. I think the intention is more punitive. And is that always the right choice? I don't think so. And then again, when you pair it with another system that isn't just, it's hard to come out with results that actually sit in your heart and your soul.
Hmm.
And so, as we're all navigating what happens in this particular conversation about addiction, it's like we had the conversation before about whether or not addiction is a mental illness, but then also being held accountable for your actions.
Yeah.
And so it becomes, yeah, a very, very interesting
Mm.
conversation. And I think we need to have it more. And I think, obviously, from what I just talked about, that we need to have it more from that lens. Like, what is the system? Is it functioning? What is the legal system? What is the correctional system? Are they functioning as intended? And if not, um, what can we do? Because people are going to make mistakes. How do we hold them accountable, but not continue to ruin so many lives?
Yes. I agree with everything that you just said there, Lainey. Like there are so many on points. Because I look at the systems and I know we're talking about the judicial system. We're talking about the like court system, the incarceration, like, and we're talking about um these systems that are were designed for a certain purpose and they're not being fulfilled for that purpose. And where does, I'm looking at Luke, I'm looking at other individuals, some of the family members that I work with where their children are incarcerated, or are waiting for their sentencing. And the system since COVID in particular, the backlogs, the amount of time that people have been waiting for their sentencing. And, Luke has talked about this. This has been his journey on, being on house arrest and having to wait the system for years. And where does that get taken into account? So I'm looking at it from, yes, the systems are broken 100%. I mean, we're talking about accountability 100%. And Luke talks about it in all the events that we go to on this podcast about he has taken radical responsibility for his behaviors, for his choices. He doesn't make excuses. He understands there's consequences to actions. We're talking about redemption, where we talk about penalization of these behaviors and actions. And when you have somebody, and I see this with clients, I see this with, repeat offenders, addiction, just caught in that system of not getting help for their substance use, the behaviors that are being driven from addiction. And there's still got to be accountability for them. And yet, what about redemption? Like, here's somebody who has rehabilitated himself with the help of actually reaching out for services, for supports. I've worked with Luke with breath work and meditations. I know that he's got so many tools in his toolbox. We talk about this, and he has been doing this work and he is now giving back to society. He is now serving society. He is working with youth and individuals impacted by addiction. He's created this recovery painting where he's like employing people who otherwise couldn't find work and giving back in that way. He's working, created programs to help people understand addiction and move through the recovery journey using the same methods that he used for himself. Like, what more could you ask for in a sense of not going to jail, serving his time in on under house arrest and actually creating a better human being, a coming back to the truth of who he is, which is reclamation, not of the identity of an addict or, mental health or whatever you want to call it, but like he's reclaiming the truth of who he is and finding, he always says it, the message in the mess. We can send him to jail. He's already done the rehabilitation, and so many people are in the same circumstance. And then it blows my mind, and this is my frustration with the system and what we see going on all around us in open we all see what's happening, the corruption, the things that are happening, and these people nothing's happening to. And to me, it's like, here's a guy who's done the work, who has taken ownership and accountability and responsibility, and is actually prepared to face whatever those consequences are. And he's going to go back after being how many years in sobriety, how much recovery, the potential of going back into the system, which threatens his recovery, which threatens his mental health. And I believe that regardless of what happens, he's going to be okay. I energize that. I hold him in that space. But
Yeah.
it's not, it's just so broken. And to witness what you see going on in people in broad daylight and in the biggest, followers and the whole world watching, and they just get away with it. And you have somebody like Luke who's doing all the right things, who has redeemed himself, in my opinion, has given himself a second, third, fourth chance to actually get his life back together and reclaim it. And he's going to face these consequences. And maybe there are consequences that need to be faced. It doesn't make sense to me. My brain goes, what the beep? It drives me nuts. It's driving me nuts. And I have to reel my emotions back in. I have to sit with them. And I'm having to like really talk myself through this because one, there's fear coming up, right? There's fear coming up. Like, is he going to be okay? What's going to happen? Da, da, da. Then the other part of me is like, no, he's got this. He's got the tools. He knows how to work these tools. And if he is going, if the consequences is he's going back to jail for a period of time, there'll be a transition. Like I'm talking myself through this. There's going to be a
Mhm.
transition for him, but he's got the tools. He knows his truth. He understands the process, the journey, and he's going to be okay. So it's like I'm just sharing with you my whole thought bubble right now because one, I'm like overwhelmed and I feel like this isn't right. Like this should not be happening. And then the other part of me is like, well, if it is happening because it's not in my control, how do I find my peace and come from an empowered place to show up for me, but also show up for Luke and breathing life into him, breathing truth into him so that whatever happens, he's going to be okay. And that's how I'm moving through it. And it's like a little bit of a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie because I love this guy and I believe so much in who he is and the work that he's doing. And I believe wherever he is, he's going to be continuing that work.
Beautifully.
The Inside Out project, which is his project, Inside Out. Or no, the Inside Job. Inside Job. I always say
Yeah, I
that
was going
wrong.
to say the inside job.
Inside
I
Job
feel
project.
inside out right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Uh,
my rant. That's my rant. I'll
oh, I feel you. I
and that
was right beside you the whole time. I could feel it. I could feel it to my core. But what gets me through is knowing that I truly believe things happen for a reason, and sometimes they effing suck. So in this case with Luke, I'm hoping for the best outcome for what he needs for his growth.
yeah.
That's how I do it. Believe me, I will be there to support him. But you both have touched on so many points. I'm just going to throw out what I just wrote a couple of things. The system, what you were saying, Lainey, you were right on. The legal system and what was the other, like the difference between what we see and what we expect justice, but we don't always get justice. And, everything you were saying, Jen, about who Luke is as a human, I know he has helped me recover from the loss of my son. Seeing him, I see my son. Had he not passed, I could see my son being Luke. You know, like there's such a connection for me as a mama bear. Um,
Hmm.
I'm hoping for the best in outcome. I do have a heavy heart, and but I do feel like what can we do? We can support him, you know, and showing up and with his family as well. I had a chat with his mom at our last event, and I feel her heart. Like, you
Hmm.
know, for a mom to watch their son, you know, going through this and not knowing what the outcome is. We'll hopefully get some answers tomorrow and then we'll heal and move forward from whatever the outcome is. I do know a number of people that their their adult,
Yeah.
in addiction, has broken laws, and my son the same thing. So I spent a lot of time in court with my son. So I get the system to a certain degree. But it is broken in many ways because when they leave, let's say they do their time, uh, when they leave, they're not necessarily set up for success.
Exactly.
You know, I could tell stories, but it's not my story to tell. So that's another part of it. It's one thing to do your time. It's another thing what happens when you leave jail after a year or two or whatever your sentencing is. With
Hmm.
Luke, I know just talking to him, and we've heard him say whatever is going to be, he will be okay, whether he needs to do time or he gets some nice ankle jewelry.
Yeah.
I told him I'd bling it up for him. Uh, but he, you know, and that gives me a lot of hope and faith in Luke because he is a stronger person. He went through the relapse. He went through the counseling. He truly has worked on himself. I saw the transformation just since I've known him, and that's really powerful. So I have to believe that everything that he's worked towards to get to this point is going to get him through whatever happens tomorrow. I feel it in my heart, and whew, I get emotional because you know we want the best for him, and like you said, Jen, both of you, like it's the family that's
Yeah.
also struggling with them and suffering with them. Anybody that loves him, and you know, he talks very highly of his nieces and nephews and being the godfather and all that wonderful stuff. All that happened to lead him to today and to tomorrow to get him through what he needs to go through.
Yeah.
And I'm just putting out the positive vibes and prayers and anything you want to call it, just for the right outcome, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I know he knows we're there for him. So.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what's coming up for me, Sandra, with everything that you were talking about. One is the uncertainty of the families and just honoring how challenging that is. Like Lainey and I were talking not on the podcast, but earlier today, just in life in general, and really leaning into letting go of, what's not in our control and trusting that that process that's unfolding and trusting in the other person that they're going to be able to figure it out. And just recognizing oh, my train of thought just left me. Menopause brain. Um it's a real thing. It's like it's a
Ah,
real thing.
been
Okay.
there, done that.
Um anyways, I don't know what I was going to say, but it was really good. Hopefully it comes
Oh,
back to me.
it'll come back. I wanted to
Welcome
just touch
back.
on justice because
Yeah.
we are all, I think that's where we all get hung up, and it's definitely where I get hung up, and where I definitely become either losing my mind, as Jen was talking about, or become really emotional. But it also is the line that divides. So not only because everybody's idea of what justice
Mm,
is so different. We're talking about spiritual justice. In one hand, everything happens for a reason. You know, we think it's so wrong for him to go to jail in this particular instance because that doesn't seem like the right outcome. And then there's this whole other element, this deep layer to why things happen to
mm,
us or for us, depending on how we're feeling about the
correct.
experience. Um, and and also and which side you're on.
Mhm.
Am
Yeah.
I, am I the one that's been harmed by the person, or am I the one that's caused the harm? In my life, I've been both. I've caused harm and I've been harmed. And the exercise I practice with my son is, okay, tell me why you're right. Okay, now tell me why they're right.
Mm,
You can still think that you're right, but being able to just shift your perspective. I know, if myself or my child was harmed by somebody,
Yeah.
might have a very different experience than if me or my child was the one that caused the harm.
Yeah.
So my feeling of what justice would be very different. And then it's looking deeper within yourself. Am
Mm.
I that goes back to that whole punitive or correctional. Am I trying to punish because I've been so hurt? And do I think that causing more harm and creating more punish is the circle that I want to be perpetuating? Or is it I want to give a person an opportunity to change?
Right.
And I think that we all know like what the right answer is. And emotionally being able to get there, depending on what the harm is something completely different. So
Hmm.
that's why it's so complicated, right? Like, what is justice? What is justice?
What
yeah.
is it? That's a great question. Absolutely. And that's actually you reminded me of what I was going to say is again, what Sandra said around trusting the process and like who knows what's the right thing or wrong thing. We have to go through what we have to go through to remember
Mhm.
who we are on a deeper level, not just know it, but like know it and embody it and like stand in your power and your truth in that. And I look at Luke and people like Luke. Like we were at an event, our events, people that were there that have gone to jail, that have spent time incarcerated, and they're now living their lives, doing their thing and knowing that whatever happens, Luke is living proof of what's possible, living proof of being able to go through hard things and continue on the path to what he's actually meant here for to do. And yes, again, that's where he's accepted the consequences for, the choices and the behaviors that he exhibited and it's complicated. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's complicated.
And to add to what you're saying, if he had to do time, he will be helping others still. So, I truly believe in the flow of the universe. Things happen. We don't have to like it, but there's a reason behind it.
Yeah.
And so that's what gives me comfort in knowing, yeah, it would totally suck if he needed to do time, but in the big picture, who could he help there? And when he comes out, the story, another story he can share and how
Exactly.
he survived. And I did give him a book to read. It was Danny Trejo. He's an actor, and boy, his story. And now he's like a famous actor. He's very successful, and he's still helping people with substance use disorder. And his story, it was whoa.
Yeah.
So I hope he gets a chance to read it because he spent time in jail. He even met Charles Manson, like that's aging him, but the experience to meet someone like that and to be able to share that story. So I really believe what's supposed to happen will happen tomorrow. It's surviving it emotionally as the people that love him and
Yeah.
for Luke. And I think Luke has the right attitude because I think he's open. Whatever's going to happen, he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
you know, like
And
things
so it
happen
is,
for a reason.
and
And
so it
so
is,
it is.
and so it is.
So it is. And,
And so it
for me to say, like, I lost my son, and that is a horrible thing, but I could see the perfection in it. I could see the growth in it. I could see the reason behind it. It still sucks. It still hurts. But when you look at it at a different spiritual level, it really does, for me, give me peace. And it allows me to continue doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so it is.
And so it is. And really truly just to kind of circle up on this, this life is duality.
Yeah.
It is the polarization. It is the light and the dark, right? It is the shadow and the brightness, right? The illumination of who we are. And it's really teaching us that on so many levels, all of these experiences. So it is, it all exists. It all
And it
exists.
can still feel like it really sucks. I
Right.
Yeah.
fight against this stuff all of the time. It's so hard. This is one of my biggest challenges is yeah, that faith. I'm with you, Sandra. I think all of four of us are
Hmm.
within that. I do believe that everything is happening for a reason, and for my greatest
Greatest.
evolution and
Yeah.
unfoldment.
Yeah.
And even knowing that sometimes it makes the hard times easier, and sometimes it's a big fuck you to the like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like I fuck it. Like
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's not easy, and then sometimes it is, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to again that duality of it's really, really hard sometimes. It's really,
Hmm.
really hard on everyone, and just trying to wrap your mind around the understanding of it. I can't understand. I think probably every person in the world is having that feeling right now in
Hmm.
Mhm.
February of 2026 of trying to understand the
Yeah.
world and the things that happen within it, and even our own participation in it, or our own silence, or it's it is really hard to understand,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And that's when you need to shift into breath. That's when you need to shift into just coming from love. And
Mm.
I don't want to say that and like it's easy, or I don't know, like a cop out, just love. But really, when you can't, when I can't, when I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. It's not fair. It doesn't, why? When we get stuck as human beings in that cycle, because we all do it.
Yeah.
If I just like breathe and just go into finding some kind of like love or peace or anything, whatever it is that you need to reach for.
Mm.
Sometimes it's the smallest little spark, but whatever it is, just reach for it.
Exactly. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yes. Well, just holding Luke and his family and his friends and his communities, everybody that loves him, just holding them and knowing, that we're all moving through this together in our own little ways and just, really reaching out to you, the viewer and the listener, and honoring where you may be on this journey, loving somebody in addiction, facing their consequences of their actions, and just recognizing. And I hope that this conversation has been able to help you in some way, shape, and form to be able to move through the challenge that you're faced with tonight. And just again, leaning into whatever you can to help you move forward, regardless of what circumstance you're in right now. So thank you for joining us.
Before we sign off, I
Yep,
think that we should do a little collective prayer.
I love that.
That is
Mm.
just for Luke and for any listener out there. Maybe you need it in your life personally, maybe somebody in your family needs it. And just like we are all here
Mm.
giving you our intention and our energy, and recognizing that in this experience, that everything is perfect, it's imperfect, and it's all happening for the greatest development and unfoldment of you, of me, and we witness you in your experience. We witness the pain that sometimes expansion can have. We witness the injustice. We witness the sorrow, And we witness the strength and the grace and the love that is available to meet all of those experiences. So seeing you for who you are and where you are, and knowing your magnificence,
Mm.
and knowing that it is all happening and unfolding, even if I can't understand, even if we can't understand right here, right now, in this moment, that it is all happening for the greatest, highest good of all. And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. Beautiful.
Yes, it is done. It is done. It is done. Thank you, Lainey. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
So sending each and every one of you so much love, and we will see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for being part of Real Lives Touched by Addiction podcast. If this episode moved something within you, please subscribe and leave a rating or review. It helps these conversations reach the hearts that need them most. We're also inviting you to connect with us. Our social links are in the show notes. Follow us, come say hi, and share your story. We truly want to hear from you because your story carries wisdom. Your voice carries medicine, and your purpose is already unfolding. Until next time, remember, you are not alone. We heal, rise, and recover better together.